Hello and welcome to this special video tutorial giving you the opportunity to make a Visual Basic calculator. Now, before I begin, I must stress that this is not the best way to create this calculator. This is for the purpose of these videos only, and there are a lot better ways to create a calculator such as this. But we're only going to be using techniques that you've learned so far. And there'll probably be another tutorial later on using new techniques that you've learnt to create more efficient code. And yeah, basically I want you to just understand that this isn't the best way to do it, but it's good to get practice in, and you can improve on this as you go along. Now, what we want to do first of all is we want to create the loop of the program, the main loop. So we're going to need to create a do loop. And we want to loop until the user says to exit the program. So we can't really do that just yet because we don't know how to say to know whether the user wants to exit the program. So we'll just leave that for now, but everything that we're going to write is going to be in this loop here. So first of all, we want to create a menu. So in order to do that, we want to just write out to the screen the menu. And I think it would be nice to have something that tells you what it is. So let's call it calculator. Calculator. And then we want to add the options. So we want the option of add, subtract, multiply, divide, and quit. So console. In fact, I'll copy this because it saves me writing it all out. So I'm a bit lazy like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our 5 options. So number 1 is to add. Number 2 is to subtract. Number 3 would be to multiply. And number 4 would be to divide. And finally, number 5 will be to quit. And this is how we're going to exit our program. So we want to loop until the user tells us they want to quit. So first of all, we want to dim a variable called menu as a string. And what this variable is going to do, it's going to get the input from the user from this menu, and we're going to make menu equal to console.readline. So to explain this a little bit more clearly, this will display to the screen. In fact, I'll show you now. This has been displayed to the screen, and now we want to enter the number that we want to do, and the value of the menu will take in this number. So if we want to quit 5, and it basically loops back round again because it does nothing once it gets to the end of the loop. So menu gets the value that the user wants to do basically, and we want to loop until menu equals 5. And that will simply, loop until, menu equals 5. And now if we put this in here, let's give the value 5, it'll quit the program. And that's how we exit our loop. And until the user actually puts in the number 5, we want to keep going and keep going. Okay, so the next step is to clear the console. Now, when we're doing the calculation, we can leave the console up, but it will eventually just fill up and it'll get a bit messy. So we can use this thing here called console.clear. And console clear will just clear what's ever in the console before writing anything else new to it. The next step is that we want to create our if statement. We want to create the selection. So we've got the variable menu, and now we want to test what menu is. So we'll start by simply writing if menu equals 1. Do this. So if menu equals 1, we want to add 2 numbers together. So now we need to create these 2 numbers. Dim num1 as, I will dim it as a double, I'll explain why in a second. Dim num2 as a double. And dim answer as a double. Oops, oh, blimey, as double, there we go. Now, you might be wondering why I've dimmed them as doubles, and that's because we're going to be having division here. Now, with an integer value, you can't have decimal points. So, say for instance we divided 5 by 3. That wouldn't work. It would give us an approximation or a rounded value, a whole value. Whereas double would give us an exact value as it holds decimal places, and you'll see that when I demonstrate the program. So, back down to here. If the value of menu is 1, we want to add. So we want to prompt the user, I'll paste it in again, console write line, enter number 1. And then we want to create num1 equals console.readline. And then num1 will get the value that you enter. And once again, enter number 2. And num2 equals console.readline. So that basically gets the two values, num1 and num2, from the user. And now you can see why it's good that you can store any value into a variable, because it means that the user can add literally any two numbers together. We then want to do the actual calculation. So let's put answer equals num1 plus num2. And we can finally write answer out to the screen. So console.writeLine answer. And I'm sure you're very familiar with these techniques as I've gone over them in previous videos. So that shouldn't really be anything new to you. I've also mentioned the else if statement. Now, we're going to want to do this for every single one of these. And we want to test these, the value of menu. And we want to put else if menu equals 2. Then. So if menu doesn't equal 1, it won't do this. Else, if menu equals 2, then do this. So now we want to subtract, and we can do exactly the same, and we can just copy this, paste it in there, and change num1 minus num2. And we'll basically do the same for the others as well. So else if menu equals 3, then paste that in, and 3 was multiply. So now we want to multiply. And finally, else if menu equals 4, then paste in and divide this time. So as you can see, that's quite long-winded, and in future tutorials I will actually explain how you can cut this down using things called functions and procedures. But for now, using the methods that you know, this is the simplest way to do this. Okay, and we also need to add an option for menu equals 5. So else if menu equals 5, then end. And end basically quits the program. And finally, it's going to go on forever, but I promise you this is the last one. Else, now if the user enters, say for instance, the value 6, it's not on the list. And the program wouldn't know what to do with that, because does it equal 1? No. Does it equal 2? No. Does it equal 3? No. Does it equal 4? No. Does it equal 5? No. Oh, what do I do? So we put the final else in, and that basically means anything else the user inputs that's not the numbers listed above, do this. And we want to basically say, console write line, what you entered is not valid. And we'll console clear that as well. Okay, so now we're going to run it and see how it goes. And there are a few things else that we need to add in, but let's just see what it's like for now. We run this, and it comes up. Here's our menu. Now, you saw me press 5 before and it quit, and that's fine. So let's go for number 1, add, hit enter, enter number 1. So let's add the numbers 5 and 8 together. And we should get the value 13, and there's the value 13. And then what happened was, once it gave out the answer, it then did the loop again, and it displayed the original menu. And as you can see, this is why I put the console clear in, because it's starting to get a bit messy with everything stacking up on top of each other. So we want to add a few more console clears in once we've added the answer. So console.clear and console.clear and console.clear, and finally console.clear. I'll also add one up at the top just in case. In fact, I made a silly mistake there. We could have actually, instead of writing console clear in all of these, we could have just written it at the top before it displays the menu, and then it will actually remove anything that's in the console before it displays the menu again. So let's just show you this. I don't know why I did that. And now we can see that if we add them together again, 5 and 8. Oh, so it doesn't actually, it does display the value, but it goes straight back to the menu, and that's because we need to add our little pause in at the end of each single one. Console.readline, 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 console.readline. So there we have our little pause before it goes back. So let's run it now, and I believe that this is complete. We've pretty much done it. So let's just let's try to subtract this time. We'll subtract 5 from 10. So 10 minus 5. Answer is 5. Hit enter, and we go back to the start. Multiplication now. Multiplication. Multiplication. Number 1. Let's times 50 by 1,000. Well, that's not even 1,000. Let's mash the 0 key, and there we have it. And finally, now I'm going to demonstrate why we used the double. If we divide 5 by 3, if we used an integer value, we wouldn't get 1.6 recurring. We would have got 1, because 3 only goes into 5 one time, and it would have rounded that. So that's why we used the double. And finally, 5, we can quit, and that's it. So yeah, there's the basic calculator using the methods that you've learnt so far. As you can see, it might be a little bit tricky to get your head around the if statements at first, and really all we've done is just change the sign for every single one. Now, as I said at the very start of the video, this isn't the most efficient way to create this program, because as you can see, we've got a lot of repeated code here. I mean, all of this is repeated in each statement, and that's not good. We want to be able to cut down on the amount of code that we write, and in future tutorials, possibly in the next 2 or 3, I will give you more information about how we can do that by using functions and procedures. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope that's been helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give the videos, actually, don't give the video a thumbs up. If you're going to thumb up the video before, because I've made this a private video, so you can only actually see this video if you watch the previous tutorial. Yep, leave a comment. Any questions, let me know.